are we today? Depends on how after practice. But right now, I'm great.
All right, we'll now open it up to questions for head coach Jenny Baranczyk. Right here up front.
James Halo, KC Sports Radio. Jenny, talk about this matchup because they've had some great wins this year, and I know they come in as not one of the favorites to get through, but this is going to be a heck of a matchup tomorrow.
Well, I mean, we're in the NCAA tournament, so you know that every game is going to be a really good game. But obviously, Iowa's really good, or they wouldn't be in the tournament. And they're so talented; they've grown this season. They're obviously a program that you don't get to keep a really close eye on, but you keep an eye on. Obviously, with my background, and again, just so we're all aware, I played there. So, yeah, I mean, I have all the respect in the world. I know how good they are. I know how good they've been. I know for a lot of years I've followed that program. So we're not overlooking anything, and we better be ready.
Bench Evanson aside, you've been closer and closer and closer at this spot in the tournament. What's it going to take for this group of veterans, plus Reagan, all that, to push through, get to the second weekend? Well,
you got to play the game. And you can't get too far ahead of yourself. You can't hold on to things that are behind you. And I think we kind of had to work through some of that yesterday, and you could see that in our game. And so we've got to be able to step out, and you've got to be able to play the game. And then you also have to have things go right, and some of those things you can control and some of those things you can't control, but you got to give everything you have. I think the other thing is we got to have a lot of fans come. And the 3:00 start it's a hard start time. But we've got to have everybody in Norman get over here and come fill the stands. I think it's going to take that as well. So I'm excited to continue to build our fan base. I thought our crowd was amazing. Sorry, that's all my stuff. I thought our crowd was amazing yesterday. I loved how many people came. I think we're continuing to build it. We're continuing to grow it. But we still have a long way to go. And tomorrow is going to be a great tipping point for us to really see how far we have come and how far people want us to go here.
Go in the back.
Holden Cruz-Mark, KFOR TV. Jenny, kind of along the same lines, I know Reagan and Peyton have had that experience playing past the round of 32. Is there anything you've learned from them as a coach, just getting to play, what it takes to kind of get to that level? And what would it mean for the program moving forward just to show that you guys can make it to the Sweet 16 and beyond?
Well, honestly, I really look at the coaching profession as our student athletes are our greatest teachers. And I think all the time, so many times you sit there and you try to emulate different coaches and you try to do different things and you try to study different programs, and not that I don't do that, because obviously I've had great mentors. I mean, Jan Jensen's one of those, and Lisa Bluter was one of those. But at the same time, I think your players constantly teach you these incredible lessons, and then they teach you how to continue to get better. So their experiences getting to where they've been are different. So there's not a pattern. If there was a pattern, it'd be really easy to be able to do, but there isn't. And so you've got to learn through life experiences. And so I think they continue to teach me, and I love their leadership, period, regardless of where they've been. I think they show up every day. They have a smile on their face. You can't help but really like them. Competitors might not like them between the lines, but once you talk to them outside the lines, they're literally just the most amazing people. So, of course, they're going to teach us, but there's not just a blueprint. There's not a one way, to do this.
Coach Jack Birmingham, Daily Iowan. I like that you've touched on this already, but obviously you played 4 seasons at Iowa during the Bluter era. You've got connections, obviously, to Iowa and Jan Jensen, and obviously your coaching tenure is now at Oklahoma. But does tomorrow's game feel a little maybe sentimental or nostalgic to you? And if so, can you talk me through kind of how specifically that feels?
There's kind of a couple ways I can, I'll go about this. The first way is, when I was at Drake, we played Iowa for 9 years. So you learn to, at the beginning, it's personal and you want it so bad for yourself, right? And then you realize it's really not about you. Then you grow, you start to see your teams compete, and then it becomes a game. And then you can really have respect and love for a place that you came from and other programs. and you keep it between the lines because you want to win every game that you play. But every other game that Iowa plays, I want them to win. Of course I do. I want them to be really successful. That's one way. This game will be a little bit sentimental because this December I lost one of my teammates that I played with at Iowa for 3 of those 4 years. And she's, a mom, and she did the radio, and you all know her, Jamie Cavey. And that's humbling. That's hard. That's going to be something that we're going to celebrate tomorrow. So you'll see us have 52 pins on. So we're going to get some for the Iowa staff as well. And that will be somebody that we want to celebrate and honor during this game, because she meant a lot to me personally, but she really meant a lot to that program. And that's important for me on both levels.
Yeah, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. I just kind of wanted to know kind of what it's been like answering your cell phone since you found out that you'd be playing Iowa. Like, are you getting a bunch of calls, or are you getting some good-natured ribbing from people? Like, how is that aspect of things going for you?
Well, the SEC Network brought out old playing photos, so that was awesome. Fashion was a little different in the early 2000s, and so were hairstyles. But, I mean, of course, you get that. And at the same time, you want to keep it a game, too. And I want to keep it less about the fact that I played there however many years ago, and I know you're all going to have the dates, so please just leave that out. But I really want to keep it on how special our team has been this year. We've had a phenomenal year, and it's been a hard year, and it's been one that, we've had to fall down, we've had to get up, we've had to grow, we've had to, we're in a new conference. Every game that we've played this season has been like an NCAA tournament game. So it's just been a really cool journey that goes back a couple years. And this team has really grown together. So that's really where I want to keep the focus as much as I can. You guys can keep the focus wherever you want.
Kyle Huseman, Hawkeye Report. I apologize if you've heard a different question or a similar question. I walked in a couple minutes late. Obviously, every time you prepare for a team, there's probably a couple of categories you say, man, this team that we're about to face does this really well or that really well. When you look at Iowa and you've been scouting them, what kind of stands out about them that maybe are the biggest challenges that you guys are going to face tomorrow?
Well, I think Iowa has depth. I think they can space you out. I think obviously they can drive the ball. They can score in the paint. They can shoot the three. They've got great post play. Just a very traditional Iowa team. And not to mention they have experience. So I understand that they had a superstar on their team a year ago, and they've had to work through some things as well. But they have that experience too that we don't have. So that's always something. And they have a fan base that travels. And, I've said this a million times. What I've been really excited about in the state of Oklahoma is, I come from a background from Iowa where women's basketball matters. And it mattered before Caitlin came to Iowa. Now, she really elevated it, obviously. But it's always been really important in that state. And we want to continue to have women's sports, and in particular, obviously, our sport and women's basketball really elevated here in Oklahoma. We want young people to want to grow up and come here, just like young people do in the state of Iowa.
Jeff Linder, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Reagan Beers said in the locker room that you do a lot of scrimmaging with the
Thanks,
team.
Jeff.
Tell us a little bit about that. What's
a lot is strong.
Okay,
that is
little.
very. What do you want me to tell you about that? Have I pulled a muscle? Maybe.
What's your role on the scout team?
It's not every day. Sometimes you step in. Sometimes, and unfortunately, you're old enough to have covered some of those games when I was a little out of control and competitive, and I'm still maybe that today, just in a different capacity. But no, it's fun. I love this game. I love it. This is why I'm doing it. I had a great experience, obviously, in college. We've talked about that. I love coaching. I have just this immense passion for young people to figure things out, to be competitive, to understand that competition isn't always to hope somebody doesn't do well. It's just to bring out this incredible gift of teamwork. And so sometimes you just do what it takes as a college coach, and sometimes I have to step in and humble them, and sometimes I get humbled. So it's I just do it because I love it and it's fun. And sometimes it's just a little bit more efficient when you're, trying to figure some things out on scout team.
Stay up front.
Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. You mentioned you cheer for Iowa when you're not playing them. I guess just what about this particular team, and what about the job that Jan Jensen has done as a first year coach, which I'm sure you know how hard it is to be a first year coach. What do you think of the job that she's done in her first year?
I'm proud of Jan. I love that. I love that Lisa ended, her career the way she wanted to end it. I love that she passed it on to Jan. I think it's really positive for so many programs that want to build something and sustain something, and that's what they've done. But I also, and I don't know this, but it looks like Jan's done it her way too. And that's not easy to do when you've been with somebody for so long. You kind of start thinking the same. And I think she's just done a great job of being able to build that program. And Jan's not afraid of anything. I mean, Jan's Jan. I mean, I've literally, I grew up going to Drake basketball camps when Lisa and Jan were there. And Jan used to chase me around, and it just used to drive me crazy. I didn't know she was recruiting me. I just thought she was in my shadow. And that's Jan. I mean, she'd leave you voicemails that, would stop. You used to have the answering machines, and they would stop because she would just keep talking, and then she would call back again and leave more. And so Jan is one of the most thoughtful, caring people. And so, that translates over. And she's hired a really good staff. I mean, obviously, Randy, Peterson, Henderson, and I played together as well. And, I think Jan's she's one of those people that wants great people around her too. So she's going to do an incredible job, and she always has, and she always will.
Right here, right?
Willie Gillespie, OU Daily. You've had about 24 hours since the Florida Gulf Coast game. What's one takeaway there that you've reflected on that maybe you can apply to Iowa tomorrow?
One, we needed to finish better. I mean, honestly, the biggest takeaway of the whole thing is we got to play the game. You can't play the scoreboard constantly. You can't worry so much about whether or not the ball goes in or what's happening the play before, what's going to happen the next play. You've got to stay present and play the game. I think we got too far ahead of ourselves, and then I think we got kind of held on to some things. But we've got to be able to play the game. Execution-wise, obviously, we need to be able to finish and have better ball movement to play against a team like Iowa. And we got to really defend better in terms of one-on-one, especially off the bounce.
We'll go to the last question up here, up front.
Ethan Peter, Quad City Times. I asked Sahara about the process of coming to Oklahoma and the Iowa connection that you guys both have, and she mentioned that the recruiting process really started at Drake, so maybe not unlike your relationship with Jan and Lisa. I guess what was the process of getting Sahara down here, 11 hours away from home, and how impactful and important is she to what you're trying to establish here?
Well, Sahara I saw when she was in 7th grade, and I offered her, and she said no. And then I came here, and she was a little bit more open. She's special. I love, I have said this, and this is something to be really proud of in both programs, but she is a young woman that her freshman year, she had some moments, and her and I have had some tough conversations, and she's a truth seeker, though. Not a lot of young people really want to hear the truth, and she does. And in the 20-whatever years I've been coaching, she has grown more in 1 year than I have ever seen any student athlete grow. And I'm talking in every area. She's our everyday person. She lights up a room. I know you could kind of see her intensity in here, but her smile is infectious. She's competitive. She's doing well in school. Her community should be so incredibly proud of her. I know they are. But I don't know if they know the half of it. I mean, her leadership, her drive. I just feel so lucky to get to coach her, and that's how our recruiting process was. She's not somebody that really liked it. She wasn't really into it, but she seeks the truth, and she wants she wants real people. She wants an authentic relationship. She doesn't want people to tell her how good she is. She wants people to tell her what she's got to do better. And I tell you what, her skill set's going to continue to catch up to her because the rest of it she's got at an elite level. And so she works really, really hard, and that's all going to come. But, man, she's really special.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you all.
All right, we'll get started today with student athletes from Oklahoma. From left to right, we have Peyton Verhulst, Skylar Van, and Sahara Williams. We will now open it up to questions. Right here at front.
George Stoyes, Sooner Scoop. Obviously, the storyline with this game is Jenny and her time at Iowa. I'm just wondering, has she talked to you guys at all about how good of a player she was at Iowa, and has she shown any of that in practice before?
Peyton, we'll let you take this one.
Oh, wow. That's a packed question. She definitely has shown it. Yeah. No, I know. All good things, I promise, Jenny. She definitely has showed us in practice, and she's kicked our butt some, too. We've kicked her butt sometimes. She doesn't want to admit that, maybe. But I think this game, Jenny does a really good job of we don't really want to live up to any hype of rivalries, even when we play Texas and we have the Red River rivalry and stuff like that. I think for us, we just want to play basketball. No matter who we play, no matter who we're playing against, where we're playing. I think for us, it just matters about the game.
Right up here.
Sports Radio. I'm curious, Iowa has had some big wins this year, obviously, and of course they were the talk of basketball with Caitlin the last couple of years. This is a different team, though, that comes in. Skylar and Sahara, talk about what you see in Iowa and what you think you're going to get, what kind of matchup you guys are getting into.
Sky, we'll let you go first.
Okay. Iowa's a great team, and they can do a lot from the inside and out. They can shoot, get inside the paint. They have the mid-range game, too. I think for us, it's just going to be really big on guarding, emphasizing that, and just knowing personnel, knowing who we're guarding, having those gaps, just having each other's backs and help and everything. So.
I think, like Skylar said, they kind of can score at all three levels. They play out of a pick and roll a lot, so just really defending that. But I think just doing what we do and making this game about us and how we defend, how we want to play, and I think the scoreboard will take care of itself.
Right here.
James Jackson, Sooners Illustrated. Just want to go back to that fourth quarter yesterday and how you all were playing there. Did you think the slower start was because of having a 2-week layoff and getting to that point? Did that go into it at all for you all in that game? And is the fourth quarter kind of like where you think you all can be going into this game on Monday?
Peyton, we'll start with you.
Definitely. I think fourth quarter, you see that kind of the separator for us in a lot of games, and I think it has a lot to do with our depth. You see that kind of kicks in when you're playing against teams that maybe aren't as deep. And so just for the style of play that we play, it's really important that we continue to play deep because we get up and down a lot and have a lot of possessions. So I feel like the fourth quarter looks that way because of our depth. And obviously we did have a special, unique situation where we had a week and a half off before we played. And I feel like now we got a game under our belts and we're at home, so that always helps.
Tarek Moss, Street Norman Transcript. For Sahara, how different do you feel coming into the tournament this year compared to last year?
I'd say a lot more confident, just a lot more ready. I feel a lot more experienced, being that, we got to play last year at Indiana, playing Indiana, but just a lot more confident because I feel like this team has worked so hard in the offseason, and our chemistry is really getting to a spot where I think we're going to peak in March and in the beginning of April, so I'm just super excited.
Ethan Peter, Quad City Times. Sahara, now it's a little bit more real than when we were chatting with you on Friday about potentially playing Iowa. What's a matchup with your home state team mean to you?
To me, honestly, it's just another basketball game. Iowa's a great team. I tip my hat off to them and, their coaching staff and everyone who recruited me. But I'm here at Oklahoma, so I'm happy to be here with Jenny and just the team that we have and just being able to play tomorrow.
Ethan Peter, Quad City Times. Sahara, how much did Coach's Iowa background and being from the state, how much of a connection did that help you build with her in the recruiting process, and how real was the recruiting relationship between you and Jan Jensen?
It was a good recruiting process. I thought I built good connections with them, but just Jenny being from Iowa and just recruited me when she was at Drake also. I think having that special connection is what led me to follow her here at Oklahoma. So I think it was a good recruiting process, but I ended up here with Jenny, so I'm happy about that.
Kathleen Geyer from The Next. Skylar, what really attracted you to this program originally, and how much do you think you've learned, especially in this system that Jenny runs?
Well, I'm an Oklahoma kid, obviously, so I've been an Oklahoma fan my whole life, especially my dad playing here. So, I mean, I wanted to come here, and this was like a dream of mine. So coming here, it was kind of, when I got the offer to come here, I was like, I'm, not second guessing, I'm coming here. And I am super blessed, especially with the coaching change my freshman year, that Jenny came in. I remember our first Zoom meeting with her. Automatically, I was like, oh, I'm staying. Like, I want to play for her, and I just want to see if I like it or not. And it's been 4 years now, and I'm extremely grateful that I came back after last year too, and just to be with this team. It was a easy decision to be like, I'll take my 5th year here and just experience it one more time. So.
We're really happy she came back too.
Yeah. Anything else with the players? All right. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.